Hello everyone, welcome back to New Phase Entertainment. Here I bring you the full story of a veteran actress, Olajumoke George. Bringing you a full story, her age, her biography, all you need to know about her, the untold facts about her, how she survived after movie producers abandoned her, how she was abandoned and disowned by her father and mother, and how her baby daddy beat her on movie sets, and all about Olajumoke George. Let's proceed. Olajumoke George is a Nigerian actress, movie producer, and a filmmaker. Her full name is Olajumoke Olatunde George. She has been an actress for over 4 decades and she has featured in many movies, both the Yoruba and English part of Nollywood. Talking about her early life and education, Jumoke George was born on 18th of February in around 1970s. She grew up in a very strict home with her father, who was in the military, and a stepmother who was a military nurse. She started her elementary studies from Command Girls School, Army Barracks in Yaba, Lagos. From there, her father had a transfer to the north and she continued at Army Children's School in Kano. And later, they had a transfer back to Lagos and Ibadan. So she attended Anglican Grammar School in Orita Mefa, Ibadan, Oyo State. And from there, she proceeded to Government Technical College, Oshogbo, for business studies, and that is all. She didn't have the privilege to pass through university. Jumoke was a victim of a broken home. Her mother and her father got separated while she was still very young, and she decided to stay with her father and stepmother. She later had issues with her stepmother that led to her father disowning her and throwing her out of the house while she was still in secondary school. Her mother could no longer accept her because she refused to follow her when her mother divorced her father, and she started to court with friends. Talking about her career, Olajumoke George was introduced into acting at the age of 8 by her father's friend. She did stage drama with National Television Authority (NTA) in Ibadan, and she was enrolled in a drama troupe at NTA Ibadan by a guy whose nickname was Water Aqua. She later met her boss, Comrade Victor Ashaolu, who introduced her to the Yoruba movie industry. She was tutored by Comrade Victor for about 11 years. At a point in her career, she was off screen for about 14 years without any invitation from movie directors and producers because of her strict attitude towards male folks in the industry. And at this point of compulsory break from the movie industry, she became a member of Freelance and Independent Broadcaster Association of Nigeria, and she anchored 5 live programs which kept her very busy as away from acting. Now let's start with when she got into acting. She actually started acting at the age of 8 with Nigerian Television Authority (NTA) in Ibadan, and that was during a long-term holiday. My father had a friend who I wouldn't know if he's or not, because my father is late now. I think he had a crisis with a particular actor who was supposed to take the role which I was given. It was a stage drama during the Christmas period, and the man met with my dad and pleaded before him to allow me to go with him, that they were having a serious challenge with a kid actress who was meant for the role. The girl was very sick. My father had no choice than to release me because he never wanted to hurt his friend. That was how it all started. But being a child, I didn't have the opportunity to really go into it fully. But I started acting fully during my days in secondary school, and that was around 8 years old. And how has the journey of over 40 years been since she started acting? She said, "I wouldn't lie to you, it has been tough and rough. But I thank God for His mercy, because a lot of people who started after me are nowhere to be found now. Some are dead without seeing the limelight. But I must confess to you, despite the fact that the road has been rough and tough, I thank God for His mercy on me. I am still alive and kicking. And the most important thing is that the world still recognizes who Olajumoke Olatunde George is." And at a point you left the industry, what really happened? I was out of the industry for about 14 good years. I really can't point my finger on what happened for those years. I just noticed that the directors and some of the producers stopped inviting me for jobs. But if you ask me, I would say it has to do with my attitude and my behavior. There is no point in lying. A lot of directors and producers really wanted to date me, which I stood my ground that such would not happen because that wasn't the reason I joined the industry. I am from a very strict and disciplined home. My father left as a retired colonel in the military, and my mother and my stepmother retired major. I grew up under those two, so it wasn't easy. A lot of things that I met with in the industry were things that didn't really go down well with me. So because I stood my ground that I won't involve in this part, the hatred came. My stubbornness may have affected my career. Rather, that reasoning well with me. They saw it as a pride and stubbornness. But for God's sake, what is so special about me? I think the idea was if they could be dating people who are bigger than me, then what's so special about me? That was the number one thing that pulled me back from progressing in acting. I wouldn't know if there are other reasons apart from the ones I stated here, but they stopped calling me for jobs. But you see, God always fights the battles of the faithful ones. I must confess to you, almost 10 years out of these 14 years were very good years for me, because while I was abandoned by movie practitioners, I was a member of FIBAN, Freelance and Independent Broadcaster Association of Nigeria. Then I had 5 live programs I was anchoring. I really didn't miss acting because they believed they closed the door on my acting career, and unknown to them that God has really prepared an offer for me elsewhere. How did she return into acting? I really owe it to 2 people. I am seriously indebted to those 2 people, and one of them is Alhaji Kazeem Afolayan, CEO of Epsilon Movie Production. And in 2011, I had a serious major operation, but before that there was this production I did. I took it to him for marketing and he bought it. Then, when he came to pay me a visit, he busted into tears, asking, "Is that you me?" And I said yes. The only thing you can do for me is to forget about your emotion. All I need now is money. So he bought the movie from me because at that point in time, I really needed money. He gave me the money which I used to rectify my health issues. And later when I recovered, I called on him and said, "This is the time for me to go back into acting fully. Just look at me. There is no helper. I am a single mother, not even a boyfriend." He now said, "Sister, don't worry. I will do all I can to assist you to make sure you get back on the track. But first of all, just take care of yourself." So I was on his neck. I didn't give him any breathing space. And there was this job he called me for. He was the one who penciled down my name for the job. It was on that set that I met Okiki Afolayan, who is now my director. The movie was Lisa Silva's job, which was titled Inufufu. And since then, Okiki has been calling me for jobs. Also, any movie that is coming from Epsilon Movie Production, it makes sure I take part, except if I am busy working on another set or it doesn't see any suitable role for me in the storyline of the flick. And how did she get into broadcasting? She said, "To God be the glory. Wherever my boss is," I called him my Oga, Mr. Tunde. He was a staff for LTV8. I was on his neck and I said, "Oga, get me a job as a presenter and I promise not to disappoint you." So there was this guy called Tayo Ali, who was a staff of AIT before he left Nigeria to settle in the United States. He had a program to run on air and he met with Mr. Tunde at LTV8 that he needed a very good presenter who wouldn't give him any problem. And he recommended me, and the rest is history now. How many years did she spend as a presenter? The program I started with was Millet Hour. I introduced millet meal to the Nigerian market and I co-presented the program with Adisa Babagboy. While that was running, I got another one from MITV titled Logba Logba, which I was inviting traditional rulers as guests. If I am to invite the Oba of Lagos, I would have made an announcement a week before, and the Lagosians would already be preparing their questions for him, and it was a live program. From there, I anchored Okolonyo's show. I gave the program Okbeleke Extraordinary. I was presenting his market to Nigerians. I created the segment myself, and it was a live program as well. Then Alade Aromire of blessed memory called on me to run a program on his TV channels at this communication, and I started another program called Geliodu with him. It was based on the problem that surrounds marriages. While that was on, another man who is now out of Nigeria called me to anchor a program on radio Mititi 107.5, and I called the program Ishiaje on FM. I was a presenter for 11 years. And to talk of how she was disowned by her father and mother, the veteran actress Olajumoke George has quite a lot to share about her life, from being disowned by her father at just 8 years old to having 2 failed marriages, losing her second son, and facing sexual harassment, which led to a 13 years break from acting. Olajumoke has been through a lot. She said, "My father disowned me because I was fighting his battle for him, and he couldn't understand how. As young as I was then, my stepmom used to send me to a different herbalist to get love potion for her. It continued till I got to class 2. She would put it in my father's food, and I was the one who would cook the same food that had been laced with the love potion. So one day, I said I was not going to run such errands for her again, and that was how my problem started. And you know, we were brought up in a strict military home, so I have been a very brave person, and I think I got that from my father actually. So one day I walked up to my stepmother with a terrifying feeling and told her that I was getting scared of what she had been doing to my father. She asked me what did I think she was doing. I said she should stop sending me to herbalists to get all manners of love potions. She got angry and threatened to report me to my father for daring to speak up to her. And when my father came truly, she told him a different story entirely. Although she told my father I was rude to her and that I didn't listen to her instructions again, she cooked up the blatant lie that I could not even understand. Immediately, I went on my knees and started begging her to stop telling lies against me. I tried to explain myself to my dad, but my father got mad and asked me to get out of the house. I held on to his nails, pleading for mercy. Suddenly, he shoved me away and went into his room to get his gun. You know, he retired as a medical doctor in the military, and he was a lieutenant colonel in the Nigerian army before he retired. And my father pursued me with his gun from my house to that popular filling station at Ring Road, barefooted. He ran after me and went back when I got to the main road. But I ran to my paternal mother's house to hide, and my father came there as well and dragged his mom and me on the floor. It was at that point I realized that he had truly disowned me. My mother had divorced my father at the age of 6, so I went to her when there was no place for me to go, but I was shocked when my mom said she would not take me to her whole house. I asked her why, and she said I chose to stay with my father against her wish at the age of 6 when she wanted to leave my father's house, and my mother insisted that she would not have me back in her house. That was how I started squatting from one house to another because I didn't want to become a dropout. I went to the house of my classmate who was the daughter of the popular Baba Akondiede. And after some times, Uncle Aqua enrolled me with a Laulu Oguniyi theatre group. I was attending rehearsals for a couple of months, though the founder of the group was not always around, but I kept on going. To talk about her belief, she said, "I always tell people that I'm a golden fish that has no hiding place, and I like telling my story to inspire young ladies who might be going through a similar problem. And to be sincere with you, my parent never existed in my life," she said. "If I could go through what I faced in life at that tender age and nobody was there to help me but God, then I don't think I would be wrong to say I never had a parent." But to shock you all, she made up with her father before he died. And this is all you need to know about the veteran actress Olajumoke Olatunde George. Remember, she had 2 children for the first husband and 1 for the second husband, who was already married, and she also lost 1 child. This is all you need to know about Olajumoke Olatunde George. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please kindly do so now and leave a comment at the comment section below. Stay blessed. Bye.